Welcome to another create your own character video where today we are going to feature a couple of different people's characters and or memories that they created in the Discord for My Hero Ultra Impact. If you guys ever want to participate in this, make sure you guys check out the Discord in the description below and you guys go to the create your own character channel. Only post in the upcoming My Hero Ultra Impact kits thread when there is a video coming up. That way everybody has a chance to get in, right? So we are going to start with Infinite 2.0, who has made many kits before. They have created a UR ABL Grand Return all for one. So the plus ultra move is called Demon Lord's New Body. It deals 700% damage to a single opponent, removes 3 of the opponent's temporary buffs, and decreases their power and skill impact by 30% for 4 turns. Character gains Overwhelm for 3 turns, high chance of inflicting fear on all opponents for 2 turns, and this skill deals 200% damage to all opponents, excluding target, and gains Piercing Shot if Tomura Shigaraki is on the team. That is kind of a nuts plus ultra. I like seeing fear because I feel like we don't see fear on too many units nowadays, but overall I would say it's actually fairly balanced. It's not too crazy. Not anything crazier than what we have right now, to be fair. And we need some good villains like this with attack alls. Like, it'd be nice to have more villains than just Compress to fit into the current meta. Action skill 1 is called EMP Cannon. Deals 250% damage to all opponents, so another attack all. Decreases all opponents' critical hit rate by 25% for 3 turns. Decreases all opponents' plus ultra gauge by 20% if used in a third successfully executed skill chain. We are actually probably going to see more of this here in the upcoming updates with the game, I imagine, since they introduced it with Uraraka, the New Year's Uraraka, and hopefully we'll see it on better characters than her because she doesn't have like any speed or things like that. So that would be pretty sick to see on All For One. Low chance of paralyzing all opponents for 2 turns. If this skill paralyzes an opponent, removes one of the opponent's temporary buffs, removes 2 of their health if their health is below 50%. That's kind of cool. I like that idea. And then increases all allies' bind resistance by 25% for 3 turns. Okay, he's doing a lot right there. That's a lot for one action skill, but now honestly they're getting so convoluted with the action skills in the actual game. It probably is balance. That's probably fair. And a cooldown time of 5, like, yeah, I would say absolutely balanced with a cooldown time of 5. Ideally I like 4 to 3 turn cooldowns. I think most everybody does, but yeah, that's honestly, like, this is really well balanced so far. Good job. Action skill 2, Inside Attack, deals 300% damage to a single opponent. Okay, so there's your single target attack. This skill deals 70% plus damage if the opponent is a hero. Okay, interesting. Decreases the opponent's skill impact by 30% for 3 turns. Low chance of blocking the opponent's buffs for 2 turns. And medium chance of confusing the opponent for 2 turns. This skill gains Piercing Shot. Okay, I think it should gain Piercing Shot if used in a second or later successfully executed skill chain to make it a little bit more balanced and to make the character better. Because sometimes you don't want characters to have Piercing Shot, and so like if it's in a second or later successfully executed skill chain, you can avoid using that Piercing Shot. Because sometimes having Piercing Shot is a detriment depending on the PvE stage you're taking on, right? So I like the idea of putting that in a skill chain. Cooldown time of 4, that's fairly balanced. Auto skill 1, My Turn Will Never End, increases character's power and skill impact by 30%, decreases all opponents' defense and skill impact by 20% if all opponents are below 50% health. That's nuts. That's nuts that you're going to decrease their defense more if they're below 50%. Oh, never mind. Okay, that's a permanent decrease. Ooh, yeah, that's nuts. Okay, and then if all opponents are below 50% health, character has a low chance of shortening their own action skill cooldown by however much the action skill's cooldown is, allowing them to reuse their action skill in the following turn. Wow. Okay, that could be nuts. Up to 2 times. When character's HP is above 70%, gives all allies bullseyeing and increases all villains' allies' max HP and power by 40%. Yo, you need to go work. I'm telling you, the kits I've read from you have always been so good, so entertaining, and they're usually always related to My Hero Ultra Impact for the most part. Like, this is stuff we would like to see in the game, you know? Go work for them. Auto skill 2, Hybrid Quirks, increases character speed and defense by 20%. Beautiful. Love that on an auto skill. Love that. Increases character's max HP and reduces damage to character by 20% if Shigaraki is on the team. Removes 2 temporary buffs from an opponent every 3 turns. So I like that you have these additional effects of having Shigaraki on the team, but they don't make or break the kit, right? They're just like added little bonuses. I really, really like that. I feel like it's a fairly balanced kit. And then of course here is the art that you've chosen for that, where All For One returns. So yeah, I like it. Grand Return All For One. There we go. That is our first kit, guys. And our second kit is from Mirko, a URAGL Tiger Bunny Mirko. Okay, so is this the actual, I assume this is the actual Mirko from the series? Okay, so the plus ultra move is Destructive Wrestler Kick. Deals 700% damage to a single opponent, increases character speed and skill impact by 45% for 4 turns, increases allies excluding self speed by 25% for 3 turns, and a barrier that nullifies 1 hit. If the character is evading the skill, gains piercing shot, increases character speed by 10%, and that's permanently stackable. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. We do need a new Mirko in the game, so this would be sick. Action skill 1, Chained Luna Ring, deals 300% to all opponents. Let's go and attack all for Mirko. Medium chance 45% to stun for 1 turn per enemy would be nice if that's what you're aiming for. That could be really, really good. However, I would go for a low chance to stun, because whenever you land a crit, it increases your chance to stun, so it goes from low to medium. So if you're going with a medium chance to stun at the start, 45%, that actually turns into a high chance to stun with a crit, which would be a little bit OP on an attack all. But I mean, I don't know. Nowadays, maybe it's worth it. Maybe it could be good. Like, I just think I'm afraid it would be too overpowered having a medium chance. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Would that be too overpowered or not? Do you think it should be a low chance? Do you think it should be a medium chance the way it is? But yeah, so far I'm liking it. Give the character ability to evade for 1 turn. Increases the whole turn, which is nuts. Increases character skill impact by 20% for 3 turns and speed by 10% for 3 turns. That's pretty decent. And then if the enemy is a villain, gain Rabbit Frenzy for 6 turns. Can't wait to see what that actually is. Action skill 2, Luna Counter. If the character has the ability to evade, give character the ability to nullify normal attacks and the ability to counter for 3 turns. Ooh, okay. If the character does not have the ability to evade, gives character ability to counter for 3 turns. Okay. And then gives character the ability to cover allies for 2 turns. Gives all allies the ability to make a last stand 2 times if this character's speed is increased. When the character makes a counter attack, reduce damage taken by 10% for 2 turns, and increases skill impact of the counter attacked based on speed. Interesting. But you do have her like drawing aggro now with evasion, I guess, potentially, but she's not necessarily going to have evasion from what I understand, if I'm reading this right. If the character has the ability to evade, give the character the ability to nullify normal attacks. Yeah, so if she has evasion, she can nullify normal attacks and then counter. Otherwise, she's forced to counter even when she does not have the ability to evade. And so I don't know. And she can draw cover to allies with this skill. You don't really have any defensive capabilities for her outside of the evasion, so that could actually really hurt her. I'm not sure. I know you give the reduced damage 10% for 2 turns, but like, I don't know if that's going to be enough to keep her alive. Be interesting to see how that works. Auto skill 1, right back at you, punk. If another pro hero is on the team, increases skill impact by 20% and speed by 30%. Love that. I always love seeing speed in the auto skill, because that is automatically going to make the character viable for PvP. If they don't have speed in the auto skill, they're pretty much not viable instantly. Every time the character gains counter, increases the character's skill impact by 5%, which is stackable. When character counters an opponent's normal attack, heal 10% of maximum health for self and 5% of maximum health for the party. Okay, there's a heal plus the damage reduction. You know what? Okay, fair enough. That's pretty good. When character's HP falls below 50%, give the character the ability to make a last stand for 2 turns. Nice. I would actually just prefer the last stand to be like from the start, so no stipulation on 50%, and that makes the character better. Like, last stands are so common nowadays. Just give permanent last stand. The character gets a last stand from the start of battle. That's not permanent, that lasts forever, but gets a last stand from the start of battle would be better. Auto skill 2. Beastly Rabbit gives character the ability to cover allies for 2 turns. When the battle starts, gives character the ability to evade 2 times when a wave starts. Okay. Each time the character makes a last stand, it gives all allies 5% defense and 5% power up to 6 times. Okay. That's interesting. And then one character's HP is below 20%, gives character the ability to make a last stand 1 time up to 9 times. Jeez, up to 9 times? That's nuts. And what's crazy is, like, if you were to run this character with Yaoyorozu, who gives last stands, you'll be below that 20% quite frequently. Bro, it could be nuts. It could be nuts. And then Rabbit Frenzy gains 2 evasions every 2 turns. Okay, so that's pretty cool too. All right, so yeah, that is actually a pretty decent kit. There is the art for the Mirko. I would love to see another Mirko come to the game. I don't know that it will happen anytime soon, but I you know, let me know if you guys agree with this. I would love to see limited units, like Impact Fest units, that are not just freaking UA characters or like Aizawa. I'm ready for something else. I'm ready for Impact Fest Pro Heroes. I'm ready to see the Pro Heroes in costumes and stuff like that, because I think that would be very, very cool in Ultra Impact. But let me know what you guys think about that. But very, very cool idea, very cool concept there. And here we have D. UR, Strength, Shifting Gears, Katsuki Bakugo. Okay, so his plus ultra is called Mecha Explosion, and just for reference, this is the Mecha version of Bakugo, right? And this deals 900% damage. Jeez, that's a massive percentage. That's like a one-shot to a single opponent. This character takes 20% of their max health as damage, so I assume Bakugo loses 20% of his health. Okay. Yeah, I kind of balances it, I guess. 900% is insane. Action skill 1, Automated Blasting, deals 350% damage to all opponents. This character takes 15% of their max health as damage. Okay, it's the opponent's max health. Okay. And then this character gains plus 25% speed for 3 turns. This character gains plus 25% power for 3 turns with a cooldown time of 5. Nothing honestly too broken with that skill. That's fair. 350% damage to all opponents isn't that crazy. Yeah, I don't know, like, I feel like this one's actually kind of underpowered overall, because he is taking damage, 15% of damage for that skill. The plus ultra is nuts, but the action skill 1 is kind of underpowered. Action skill 2, Explosive Tidal Wave, deals 550% damage to a single opponent. This character takes 15% of their max HP as damage. This character gains plus 30% power for 3 turns, cooldown time of 5. Okay, so 2 cooldown times of 5. I would like to see like some cooldown reduction on this kit. That would make him pretty balanced. I would like to see more attack characters with cooldown reduction in the game in general, so we don't just have to run Compress and Yaoyorozu all the time. So that'd be cool to see. Auto skill 1, Reckless. When this character uses a normal attack, you have the option to deal 100% more damage, but take damage equal to 7% of this character's max HP. At the beginning of a battle, this character gains the ability to make a last stand 3 times. Ooh, okay. That would be interesting. So I don't know how the option would work to do 100% more damage, but that could be nuts on these skills actually. So yeah, and I just noticed this percentage. That's actually a really high percentage for a single target skill. That's really high too. Auto skill 2, Sacrifice. When the character is defeated, deals 500% damage to all opponents and burn them for 3 turns. You know what? You had me thinking it was an okay kit up until I read this part where he dies and a nuke goes off and burns them for 3 turns. That's nuts. I guess it's only 500% damage, so it probably wouldn't kill them, but still, yo, that's like plus ultra level damage right there just for dying. Oh my goodness, that'd be so sketchy to try and kill him. You'd want to have like Najire's evasion up when you kill him, so you can avoid that. I would love to actually see that in the game. That would be so funny to just see like a character who blows themselves up and does damage like on their death. That'd be interesting, a very interesting mechanic to say the least. It would definitely shake up the game. I don't know if for the better, but it would shake up the game. And then you have the Bakugo art for the Mecha Bakugo. So yeah, very cool. Okay, now we have You Are Mine Shoto Todoroki from a person named Bakugo here, and it's a celebration Todoroki, it looks like. So we have the plus ultra called Winning Icicle. It deals 700% damage to a single opponent and freezes them for 1 turn, increases all allies plus ultra skill impact by 30% for 4 turns. Action skill 1, Heaven Piercing Ice Wall, deals 450% damage to all opponents and increases all allies defense and skill impact by 30% and makes all allies ecstatic for 5 turns when used in a successfully executed skill chain. This buff cannot be blocked or cancelled in any way. High chance of freezing the opponent for 1 turn. 4 turn cooldown. Fair enough. That's not too crazy. Action skill 2, Icy Heat Wave, deals 500% damage to a single opponent and increases all allies plus ultra skill impact by 40%, lowers the opponent's power defense by 30%, and removes 2 temporary buffs, has a medium chance to burn the target, has a medium chance to freeze the target. Honestly, nothing too crazy so far that I'm seeing on the skip. 5-turn cooldown, very balanced. Auto skill 1, Freezing Cold and Burning Hot. When character is ecstatic, increases character's max HP by 20% and gives character the ability to make a last stand 3 times. And then auto skill 2, Cool and Collected. When character gains a buff or inflicts a debuff, increases its effects by 5%. That's actually pretty good. So like the next time you use it, you have a higher chance to potentially land a freeze. Is that how I'm to understand? I'm not sure what you mean by like buff and debuff. Like status ailment, when character gains a buff or inflicts a status ailment. Yeah, I'm just not sure how you meant to word that there, because yeah, but it could be interesting. I feel like you might have underpowered a Celebration Todoroki too much. However, the art that you picked, absolutely amazing. Would love to see that in game. I feel like he could be a little bit more overpowered than he's looking right here compared to the other Celebration characters, at least in my mind. Next, we have Annie. Annie created a You Are Mind Another Life Rei Himura. Sorry. And the plus ultra move is called Sheer Cold, and you have the stats up here. Deals 500% damage to all opponents, high chance 90% of giving them frostbite for 3 turns, a medium chance 50% of freezing them for 1 turn, and low chance 20% of causing deep freeze for 2 turns. I wonder what deep freeze is. 90% chance to give frostbite is nuts though, because frostbite interrupts skill chains if you don't know, which could be really, really good. Action skill 1, Freeze to the Core, deals 400% damage to a single opponent with a medium chance 50% of giving them frostbite for 2 turns, and low chance 10% of causing deep freeze for 2 turns. You know what? Having that much frostbite is nuts. That would be really annoying. That would be a meta character for sure. Like, frostbite is one of the best status elements in the game. Not very many characters have it. Action skill 2, Biting Wind, deals 300% to all opponents with a high chance 70% of freezing them for 1 turn and a low chance 10% of causing deep freeze for 2 turns. And then auto skill 1, Blue Bloodline, lowers chance of being frozen or getting frostbite, reduces damage to character by 30% for 3 turns when a wave starts, increases damage against frozen and deep freeze opponents by 50%. That's nuts. And then auto skill 2, the Frost Maiden, decreases speed of all opponents by 25%. Love that. For 3 turns when a wave starts, increases character skill impact by 30% when speed is higher than the opponent. That's insane. Yeah, this character will hit hard and be annoying with the status elements. This would definitely be a meta character. And then Deep Freeze condition, enemy is frozen in solid ice, attacks do not break the ice, and attacks are guaranteed to be a crit against a deeply frozen opponent. Okay, that could be that's a cool idea right there. Would be annoying as crap if they implemented that in My Hero, but like it would be really cool to see. And then of course we have Unawakened Art and Awakened Art. I like the art. The art is very cool. Very, very nice. Okay. And I believe we have like 1 or 2 more down here. Let me double check. So we have Senrafi, and Senrafi is the last one, I believe. Okay, yeah. So we'll go over Senrafi's kit, and I'm excited to go over this one because of Mob Psycho. So that's who this is. This character is based on Dimple for Mob Psycho, in case anybody doesn't know. And so plus ultra move is called Power Up Overrun Wraither Beam. Deals 500% damage to all opponents and has a high chance 70% of making them ecstatic for 3 turns. If an ally is ecstatic, increases character's power and defense by 35% for 3 turns, makes all allies ecstatic for 4 turns, decreases all opponents' defense by 40% for 2 turns, and decreases their plus ultra gauge by 20%. Wow, that is a lot going on with the plus ultra. Okay, and it's an attack all. That's pretty good. Action skill 1, Smiley Possession, controls a single opponent until the opponent gets hit. When controlling the opponent, all damage, debuff, status elements, and the opponent will do on the character or allies will be directed to an opponent. All opponents exclude controlled opponent for all targeting attacks, so they can't target their own person, I believe is how that goes. Like when you use your attack all, it won't hit that controlled opponent, ideally, I think is what that means. Also increases character's power depending on the opponent's plus ultra gauge by and certain amount and decreases the opponent's plus ultra gauge to 0% if the opponent is ecstatic. Wow. Okay, that's nuts. Just shutting down ecstatic. Crazy. Cooldown time of 5. Action skill 2, Joy and Psychic Barrier. Increases all allies' defense by 20% for 3 turns and gives all allies a barrier that can nullify 1 hit if used in a successfully executed skill chain. Makes all allies ecstatic for 3 turns. So I guess the idea is you use action skill 2 so you possess somebody with action skill 1, and then you use action skill 2, and this would affect the enemy team, I'm guessing, and it makes them ecstatic, so it seems like you're helping them, but then you're reducing their plus ultra gauge to 0, if I'm reading that right. I'm not sure. That's a little bit confusing. Auto skill 1, Leader of the Low Occult. When an opponent or an ally increases their plus ultra gauge due to being ecstatic, increases character's power depending on how the ally or opponent ups their plus ultra gauge. When an opponent gets ecstatic, character's power is increased by 5%, which is stackable. Also reduces character's action skill cooldown time by 1 when all allies are ecstatic. Okay, so I think you meant for this to like help your own team, but if he's possessing someone on the other team, don't you think he would be helping the other team? I'm confused. Auto skill 2, Achieving the Godly Goal. One character has power increased by 100%, transforms into God Dimple. One character transforms, nullifies all increased power up, all allies ecstatic state and all opponents ecstatic state. So you're just given a bunch of buffs. So there's Dimple, and then we have the God form Dimple, I guess. So plus ultra is Kami Beam, deals 550% damage to all opponents and decreases opponents defense by 30% for 3 turns. This skill gains Bullseye, increases character's critical hit rate and critical skill impact by 35% for 3 turns. If this skill lands a crit, increases all allies excluding characters critical hit rate and critical skill impact by 20% for 4 turns. That's kind of nuts. Action skill 1, Kami Slam, deals 200% damage to a single opponent and deals 100% damage to all other opponents. Okay. I mean, that's not super crazy. Like, that's not that much damage. Increases character's critical hit rate by 20% for 3 turns, removes all opponents' barriers, and decreases all opponents' defense by 20% for 3 turns. Reducing defense is good, and increasing crit rate on the same skill. That's really good. Action skill 2, Kami Barrier, gives all allies a barrier that nullifies all hits for 1 turn. That's what we need. That's what we need in the game. A barrier that nullifies all hits. I hate barriers in the game. The multi-hit attacks get rid of a barrier in 1 hit, and it's nuts. For 1 turn, and increases all allies' defense by 40% for 3 turns, which is cool. If allies' defense gets increased by 80%, turns the remaining defense increase into a critical skill impact increase. Okay, that's cool. That's a cool idea. Auto skill 1, Godly Ascension, increases character's power and skill impact by 30% for 5 turns. If the character receives an attack from an opponent with lower critical skill impact, reduces damage received by 20% for 2 turns, once per turn, which is nice. And then every time character lands a crit, character removes one of his status ailments / debuff. Ooh, okay. Kind of hard to, I mean, I could get rid of like a burn and frostbite potentially, but it's not really going to help you with like if you're frozen, obviously, and stunned and bound. So it's like, it's okay. It's not too crazy, but that's an okay thing to add on there for him. Action skill 2, Heart of Gold. When an ally is getting knocked out by the opponent's attack, character gets knocked out and nullifies the ally's death. Oh, recovers the ally's HP by how much God Dimple had HP left before getting knocked out. When character gets knocked out, all allies gain ecstatic for the rest of the battle and nullifies all the buffs the opponent gets for knocking out the character. Okay, yeah, that's nuts. This counts as 1 kit since it was a transforming character. It did make it into the video. Here you go. And then here's the memory that goes with him. Okay, so goodbye, Dimple. Oh, it's so sad. When character's critical hit rate or power gets increased, increases the character's speed depending on the critical hit rate / power buff until the critical hit rate / power buff stops. Okay, so there's your speed increase from the memory. Okay, interesting. I prefer the speed increase to be on the characters, but that's fine. When character gets knocked out, increases all allies' power and defense by 20% for the rest of battle. So not only are you giving them ecstatic for the rest of battle when he gets knocked out, you are now giving them power and defense as well. That's not overpowered at all. Okay. Yo, there's just so much going on with that kit. I would love to see transforming kits like this actually in the game outside of just, you know, Mob Psycho here, but like real My Hero transforming characters would be pretty sick. I don't know where they go this year. This year could be a very big year for My Hero Ultra Impact, or they could flop. Like, this is the year that is absolutely make or break for the game. Like, it's going to either, you know, bring back the player base that was pre-existing and hopefully bring in some new players, or it's going to drive away the rest of the player base that is still actually playing the game without there being very much content. So they need to introduce like PURs, like plus ultra URs, or LRs, or transforming units or something like that, and that's good, but that's really not all they need to do. They also need to introduce actual like content into the game, PvE content, and they also need to fix Ultra Arena. They need to add in like other options for Ultra Arena, like stipulations for each month, like you have to use UA characters, stuff like that. I've been saying that forever. I feel like a lot of people have been saying that forever and they ignore us. So yeah, a lot of things need to happen in the game, but it would be cool to see. And I feel like these are good ideas from all these people who have made kits. Like, these are really good kits, right? Really good ideas. And I think we all kind of have the same ideas of like what could be cool in the game, and I would love to see some of these ideas implemented. Now, will the devs ever look at these kits that people have made and, you know, maybe steal ideas? Like, guys, we want devs, if you see this, we want you to steal these ideas. We want, you know, like maybe not crazy overpowered stuff in game, but like take the cool things and put them into the game, right? So I would love to see that. But yeah, let me know in the comments, let these people know in the comments which kit you like the best, whose was your favorite, and whose needs to be fixed up a little bit and whose needs to be nerfed a little bit. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.
Maybach music. Can anybody out there